Although we call Europe a continent, but it is actually part of Eurasia, the large landmass that includes both Europe and Asia. Geographers consider the Ural Mountains to be the boundary between the two continents. Europe is a small continent, but it is very diverse. Many different land forms, water features, and climates can be found there. Many villages in Europe were built on rivers. But rivers were only one of the physical factors that affected landforms, its waterways and its climate played roles in shaping people's lives. Europe was also a part of it. Europe became a dangerous place after the fall of Rome. Without the Roman government, Europe had no sea and territorial authority to keep order. As a result, outlaws and bandits became common. At the same time, new groups of people were moving into Europe. Violence was common. Distressed, people looked for ways to bring order and comfort into their lives. Christianity spreads to northern Europe. As the Roman Empire fell, various groups from the north and east moved into former Roman lands. As they moved in, these groups created their own states. The rulers of these states, usually powerful warlords, began to call themselves kings. These kings often fought among themselves. As a result, by the early 500s, Europe was divided into many small kingdoms. These kingdoms marked the beginning, the creation of the Middle Ages. We call this time the Middle Ages because it falls between the medieval period, another name for, also known as the Dark Age. At the beginning of the Middle Ages, many of the kingdoms of northern Europe were not Christian. Christianity was common in places that had been part of the Roman Empire, such as Italy and Spain. As time passed, however, Christianity slowly spread farther north. This spread was largely through the efforts of two groups of Christian missionaries and monks. The Middle Ages of Europe, also known as the medieval period, spanned from approximately the 11th to the 15th century. This era followed the early Middle Ages or Dark Ages and preceded the Renaissance. Now I will tell you some major events in Middle Ages. The Crusades 1095 to 1291, a series of military campaigns launched by Christians to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim rule. Then, the Black Death 1346 to 1353, a pandemic that devastated Europe, killing an estimated 75 to 200 million people. Third big thing was the Hundred Years' War 1337 to 1453, a conflict between England and France that lasted for 116 years. Fourth important thing was the rise of city-states. Cities like Venice, Florence, and Genoa became powerful centers of trade and commerce. The emergence of universities, institutions like the University of Bologna in 1088 and the University of Oxford in 1167 became centers of learning. In conclusion, the Middle Ages were a complex and dynamic period in European history, marked by significant cultural, artistic, and economic developments. This era laid the foundation for many of the social, political, and cultural institutions that shape modern Europe.